Open up business.
Today, for the Bitcoin price. No, wait, that's not my line, guys. What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of CryptoZombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having an excellent day today. So we have had a massive green God candle for Bitcoin. In fact, it is the largest daily candle that we have seen for Bitcoin in over a year. And this is happening during a time of global crisis. The Ukraine-Russia situation is currently escalating. So as you guys know, currently I'm not in the studio, but I absolutely had to bring you today's update. So if you are not subscribed to the CryptoZombie channel, definitely consider it. Should be back on Friday in the studio, but we have so much to go over today. So we're going to be talking about what is going on. Should we be getting bullish? What even happened with this crazy candle? Is it Russia buying? We're going to go over all that. We're going to talk about some short-term price predictions as well as what is happening right now in the Bitcoin cycle. So make sure that you stick around all the way to the end of this video. And without further ado, let's hop in, let's dive in, let's have a look at the charts and see exactly what is going on right now. So obviously we have a lot of the cryptos in the green today. Bitcoin actually had a 21% move over the past 48 hours, still up almost 6% today alone. Bitcoin dominance sitting at around 42.5%. But more important than that, you can actually see that Bitcoin finally broke this 3-month red candle downtrend, very similar actually to what we had back here. And you can see that once we did break that trend, we did in fact have 2 months of green candles. So could Bitcoin be emulating the same thing that we had seen back here? Well, another very important thing to pay attention to is this critical resistance support level. Now, this level right here we've been talking about for quite some time. You could see that right here on the week of January 4th, we did in fact have that resistance and we had that pullback, and it did act a little bit as support right here. We had a little bit of support right here. It was resistance on this crazy sort of capitulation wick that we had down here. And look at how many times Bitcoin tried to get above it, tried to get above it, tried to get above it, and finally we have broken above it. Now, are we out of the woods just yet? Well, guys, in my previous 2 videos that I put out, I was explaining the fact that, like Charles Edwards pointed out, very often when you do have the day of the invasion, you know, for example, in a war, he has Vietnam War, Gulf War, Afghanistan War, even though this one did go down a little bit, Iraq War, the Crimean War crisis, you could see that that actually provided excellent opportunities for buying the dip. But it wasn't just this historical data that was making us so bullish. I actually spoke about this very similar pattern that we were seeing right here, where it was basically a descending broadening wedge. Now, the one that we have right here was obviously a lot more extreme, a lot smaller, and actually some people were asking me, why am I using these lower 4-hour charts to show these Bitcoin moves? Well, the reason that I'm using these lower time frames is just so you guys could see the patterns more clearly, right? So you could see right here, we had a very clear downtrend. We had this megaphone pattern that was forming. You could see it was getting wider as we were coming down here. And I said as soon as we broke out, we were looking for a big move. And actually, if we just measure that move from bottom to top right here, you could see from the point of the breakout, Bitcoin had a 20% move. And I said that we were doing something very similar right here, right? We were doing something very similar. We were getting higher moves to the top, to the bottom, forming this megaphone, had a little bit of resistance here, and boom, we had the breakout exactly as we had anticipated it. And you could see if we take that move from the bottom to the top, that was a 21% move. And from the point of breakout, which is where I said you guys could have put in your long if you were looking to trade this move right here. So if you did do it on the breakout from bottom to top, that was a 13.74% move. Very, very big for Bitcoin. So obviously, guys, like I said, if you are interested in looking to trade this, make sure that you check out the tutorial popping up above right here. We do have over $8,000 in bonuses, but congratulations to everyone who traded this move. We knew that we had a big move coming, and this is really, really what we needed for the bulls to step in. Now, are we out of the woods just yet? Well, to be totally honest, you could see right here, if we kind of ignore this noise right here, you could have said maybe this was a little bit of a bull trap, but ultimately, Bitcoin is forming a bit of an asymmetrical triangle right here. And the reason that I remain bullish on this is because we have this triangle, which actually, if you guys want to see where it starts, we have this level right here back at the peak in June of 2019, and we connect that all the way to where we had this resistance point right here. And you could see that every single time Bitcoin comes down, we have a bounce. We have a bounce. We came all the way back up, bounce, consolidate, consolidate. And not only that, guys, what are we doing? Like I was talking about, we're putting in this W, right? So we have a double bottom here. We have a potential double bottom forming right here. And if we look at the overall chart, we might have a giant double bottom forming on the entire Bitcoin chart as well. So everything is looking quite bullish for Bitcoin. Now, the only thing I would say as a little bit of caution is if we do continue to consolidate, there is that potential that Bitcoin could even come back down to around that $38,000 level. We continue to consolidate, closer to this apex point, but ultimately we have been putting in higher highs, right? This is higher than this, right? So right here, we had this level at around 65, this level at around 69, and then each one of these consolidation points is higher as well. Back here, we have around 24.5. Right in here, we're sitting in the 28 region. Over here, we're about 38. So it ultimately is showing that we are having this beautiful channel forming for Bitcoin, lots of accumulation happening right here, and we are, in fact, looking for that double bottom. Now, there is some short-term resistance, as you guys can see. This is our blue zone that we've had marked out for quite some time. We did, in fact, get up this central area right here, 42,000, very, very good for Bitcoin. But as you can see, there is a lot of resistance right here, right? We have this purple resistance that actually formed back here, right? We had this support, 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 then it was flipped resistance, and we also need to get out of this blue zone, and we also have this legacy resistance as well right here. So you can actually see right where Bitcoin is attempting to break out, we do, in fact, have a lot of resistance to break out. And not only that, guys, we perfectly, and I mean perfectly hit the top of this blue zone. So it does look like the market is moving as expected. We are seeing this double bottom pattern, but there is a lot of resistance up here. So don't be surprised, if we do have a little bit of a retest back down here, Bitcoin could even just stop around the 42, but there is that potential of coming even just a bit lower, right? Just to kind of continue this upwards trend right here. But for the most part, everything's looking quite good. In fact, like my buddy Kevin Svensson pointed out, he said the monthly close above the 20 SMA, which avoided the historic bear market signal. We are above it. This month, we do need to get a good follow-up from the bulls so that we don't retest it. You can see right here, obviously, we fell below this. That wasn't too great. That wasn't too great, but we were able to maintain above it in a last-minute move, last day of the month, beautiful monthly candle. But he does say that we are still, unfortunately, below the 50 weekly, and you can actually see right back here in 2018, we had a bit of a fake out. We came up there and then we dumped. So we don't want something like this to happen, right? But do keep in mind that the structures are quite different. We were on a mega downtrend at this point. So having this situation, it was already looking quite bearish for Bitcoin. Whereas if we actually come up here, yes, we are below it, but we're actually on an uptrend. So it's a little bit of a different scenario than we did have back here, which is why I do maintain much more bullishness for this move moving forward. So talking about what is happening, why this is happening, well, you all know the situation in Russia. We've talked about it on the channel, but ultimately, like CNBC Market Alert had pointed out, this is essentially what is going on right now if you guys want to pay attention.
At the center of the market action today is the Russian ruble crash. What does that mean, and how does a currency collapse? Well, first of all, after a chaotic night of trading post new sanctions being announced, the ruble opened up immediately, losing 30% of its value. It's off those lows, but still getting hammered. Why? Two of the most painful moves. Some Russian banks, as Kayla mentioned, have been blocked from the SWIFT international payment system, and U.S. and Europe have cut off Russia from its currency reserves, which is its war chest of money that it's built up to prop up its currency at a time like this. Russia still does have access to its Chinese lifeline, as far as we know, and it's got gold that it could sell, but it's going to be a lot harder to defend itself against this currency crash. So what Russia can do, it started to do. The central bank doubled interest rates to 20%, which can shore up currencies. It closed the stock market to prevent selling and put in place all sorts of capital controls, which are just limits on selling or getting capital to flee the country. And what it all means, it's a disaster for the Russian people. Their savings plummet. They see massive inflation. The prices of imports will skyrocket. And when they can eventually travel again, it'll be exorbitant for them because their money is just going to buy less everywhere. And there's also a growing chance of a Russian default. Russia is basically being cut off from the global economy. One key to monitor will be if we see broader scrambling for dollars in the system, the pressures in the money markets because of the ripple effects on European banks and companies. That's why investors are on alert for the Fed and other big central banks to open up potentially emergency swap lines to boost liquidity and ease the run for dollars. Mike, we're not quite seeing that kind of extreme panic yet in terms of financial stress, but it is something that we're looking for and we're watching for. Right now, Russia's the 11th largest economy, which puts it behind South Korea. It's not the biggest trader. It's not the most important. And potentially that's why we're not seeing a broader effect. But we'll be watching because a currency crash, as we know, can be a financial crisis and an economic one as well.
So like Michael Saylor says, when a currency collapses, the stocks, bonds, and real estate linked to that currency also collapse. If your assets are not portable, your wealth may not be durable. Bitcoin, right? And Nayib Bukele said the intrinsic value of Bitcoin is now in full display on the world. Now, what is going on right now? Does this actually have anything to do with, gold? Yes, gold also had a nice move. It did have a drawdown as well, but gold's move was absolutely nothing compared to Bitcoin's move. And actually, like Leah Heilpern pointed out, she was over here, kind of having this situation with Peter Schiff. And she says if Bitcoin becomes the world reserve currency and hits 1 million, Peter would still be screaming it's a Ponzi. I think it's fair to say I won this round. I'm inviting you for a rematch on my podcast. What do you say? But essentially, if you watch this video, she explains that realistically, when you're looking at what is happening globally and you look at gold is just not really a very feasible way to hold and secure your wealth as a store of value. It's incredibly difficult to move. It's not good for micropayments. And watch this video really quick. I think she absolutely killed this round.
But you've been saying the price is going to crash for, years now. I follow you on Twitter. I've been seeing what you've been saying. And I mean, if you look at the last 5 years, gold is actually up only around 39%. It's not really done anything. Whereas Bitcoin is up 3,200%. Perhaps we live in an entirely new era and a new time where my generation, millennials, actually do see value in something which is digital rather than something which is tangible. But you said Bitcoin isn't really doing anything. Right now, Bitcoin is actually saving people's lives. People are fleeing war-torn Ukraine. They're actually leaving to go to Poland. Are they taking their gold bullion bars? Absolutely not. And even if they did get to the border, people are absolutely corrupt. If they get to the border, authorities could say, sorry, can I have one of those gold bullion bars and only let you in that case? So you don't really want to be snuggling up with your Bitcoin. Nobody wants to know that you own Bitcoin. That's the fundamental value. You can flee tyranny. And right now, you can flee, lockdowns, you can flee vaccine mandates, whatever it is your government is throwing at you, you can flee that with the keys in your head. Nobody needs to know what you own. And I certainly will not be fleeing any kind of dangerous tyrannical government with gold billion bars.
But the biggest question is, are they actually buying Bitcoin? Is this Russia and is this Ukraine, or is it just Westerners coming in, taking advantage of the fact, that we know that we do tend to get these sort of, buy the blood in the street type of moves on the beginning of, invasions of wars and things like that? Well, not actually, because if you look over here, according to Bloomberg, they say that Bitcoin appears to be gaining traction in Russia and Ukraine's local currencies amid heavy fighting and sweeping sanctions that have pushed the Russian ruble to record lows. They say trading volumes in Bitcoin using the ruble specifically have surged to the highest levels since May, while those based in Ukraine have climbed to levels not seen since October. The trend follows a wave of sanctions against Russia, which has disrupted forex markets and caused the ruble to sink to record lows against the dollar. And you can actually see, like Rand Neuner pointed out, the number of addresses with balances holding over 1,000 Bitcoin absolutely skyrocketed, guys. So these are not the same investors buying. They're not the same people. These are potentially new participants, new whales. Maybe it is Russia. Maybe it is Ukraine. Who knows? Maybe the country's putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet. But I mean, what you could see that there's nothing on this chart, since July of last year that, well, right here, we kind of had a bit of a spike right in the beginning of the year. But I mean, this thing is a straight up line. I mean, this is a rocket ship, guys. So lots of accumulation, lots of Bitcoin wallet addresses, big whales accumulating Bitcoin right here. So absolutely massive. And you could see that Bitcoin is maintaining its spot as the 9th highest market cap for an asset. Over 13,000 assets ranked by market cap. Bitcoin is holding its spot nice and steady at number 9, looking to gobble up Tesla, Silver, Amazon, Alphabet, Saudi Aramco, Microsoft, Apple, and eventually, we're coming for you, gold. We're coming for you, gold. So Obviously, guys, tonight we do have the State of the Union address from. We have Biden, talking about Putin making nuclear threats, so we're not out of the water just yet, although this is a time for celebration, I don't particularly enjoy celebrating during a time of war. War is never something to celebrate about. I'm not happy that we had to go through a situation like this to actually see the value of Bitcoin. Like Naib said, the intrinsic value of Bitcoin is now on full display for the world to see. However, unfortunately, it does take things like this to happen globally to realize the true value of Bitcoin. And I think, as we can see, by this monthly move right here, that the world is certainly waking up to Bitcoin. And, as I said, guys, in our lifetime, Bitcoin is easily going to swallow up the market cap of gold. That brings Bitcoin to about $575,000. And I do believe we will see $1 million Bitcoin in our lifetime. But just getting back to this chart right here, super short term. Let me just get these out of here. Excuse me, guys. Let me just get this out of here. You can see that we did get the move. We expected to break out of this, falling, descending, broadening channel like we did back here. And let me get out of log. That's why it's doing that. But ultimately, this was the resistance we were looking for. So it wouldn't be uncommon to see Bitcoin come down here, maybe retest that $42,000 level just one more time. To me, that would be absolutely bullish, absolutely incredible. This would probably be the area right here, 41,700. If you guys are looking to put in those longs, do be safe out there. Anything could happen. Be careful. We do have the State of the Union address coming out, and we don't really know what Putin's going to come out and say. But ultimately, this was an amazing display for Bitcoin. It really shows you exactly how important it is for the world and why we do need something like Bitcoin. So once again, guys, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Hope you guys enjoy. If you're not subscribed yet, definitely consider it. Like I said, I am still going to be traveling. I may not be back in the studio until Friday. Do go follow me over on my Twitter if you guys want. It's CryptoZombie, Twitter right here. You can just follow me. I am doing a little more updates over there. So if you guys want to follow me at the CryptoZombie over on Twitter. And also remember, guys, if you are looking to trade, make sure you check out these videos that are popping up right here, right now. I love you guys. Be safe. Enjoy the pump. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.